One. So yeah, I think we'll just go ahead and get started. People be flowing in as they do, but yes, welcome. Thank you for coming to our Activate Your Space grant interest meeting. We said it before, I'll say it again for the people who just got in. We're recording this, so if you don't want your face on, a video that will probably be posted on our YouTube, and sent out, just keep your camera off. And yeah, so we're really excited to offer this grant again this year to support the awesome beautification projects you all are dreaming up. And just another little housekeeping thing, while we're going through this presentation, if you could just keep your microphones on mute. If you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat. And we'll also be having a question and answer session at the end of our presentation. Um, yeah, Brandy, so you could go to the next slide.
So I heard you say that. And of course, we're going to have a great time tonight, guys.
It's gonna be nice. It's like, slowing down for the winter, be cozy, get meditative, like we'll be going at a nice pace. Um, so yeah, before we dive in, I'll just give a brief little overview of what Be More Beautiful is for those who might not be familiar with us. So our program Be More Beautiful is a community-driven peer-to-peer initiative focused on beautification. Our program aims not only to shift behaviors and attitudes about caring for the city's appearance, but also to motivate residents, businesses, and organizations to take an active role in projects and activities that keep Baltimore beautiful, block by block and neighborhood by neighborhood. Okay, cool. Someone else came in. Great. So activate your space, why we are all here. So this is a ancillary grant program to our popular Care Lot initiative, offering communities the opportunity to apply for funding to carry out a single standalone project aimed at transforming vacant lots throughout the city. So projects must be independent and unconnected to broader long-term efforts. They may not exceed $5,000, and projects must also be completed by June 30th of 2026. Um, and as with our Care Lot grant, all initiatives should be neighborhood driven and emphasize the creation of clean, healthy, community-centered environments. And importantly, Activate Your Space will give priority to applications that integrate crime prevention through environmental design strategies, which we're going to go over shortly. So yeah, here's a little inspiration sprinkle, some of our previous grant partner sites, that show the potential of activating your space through creative placemaking projects. Yeah, lots of beautiful, colorful, creative folks doing good work in the city.
Okay, come on. Goodness gracious. See, we were on a roll, but maybe I just want you to linger here. Okay, there we are.
Just, soak in the beauty of that. Um, so placemaking is an approach centered on people and dedicated to the thoughtful design and management of public spaces. At its core, placemaking enhances how individuals feel about where they live, work, and play. It reinforces opportunities for social interaction, community events. It supports mental well-being, and also increases, access to nature, boosting curb appeal, and contributes to the stabilization of neighborhoods through the reduction of blight and crime. Yeah, lots of good things. So an important part of creating positive and beautiful spaces is safety. So yeah, we'll go through some of the best strategies for creating safe community gathering spaces. So crime prevention through environmental design or CPTED, at its core is about shaping spaces in ways that reduce opportunities for crime before it ever occurs. When we design thoughtfully, we support safety, encourage positive behavior, and create places people genuinely want to use. Septet is built on four guiding principles. Um, so there's territorial reinforcement, which can be thought of as sociability. This is about creating spaces that feel owned and cared for. And when people feel connected to a place, they're more likely to look out for it and for each other. Second is natural surveillance or simply uses and activities. Busy, active spaces with clear sight lines make it easy for people to see and be seen. Um, and visibility alone is one of the strongest crime deterrents that we have. Third is natural access control, which relates to how people access the space and involves guiding people smoothly and clearly through a space. Good designs naturally direct movement, making residents feel welcome while discouraging unwanted and unsafe behaviors. And finally, stewardship expressed through maintenance and image. So, yeah, well-maintained spaces send a message that someone cares, and when a place looks cared for, it's more likely to stay safe, respected, and active. Um, so together, these four principles work as a holistic approach to reducing crime and elevating community well-being. Okay, so we'll dive a little bit more into these strategies. So natural surveillance, like we're talking about, is about visibility. The goal is to create a space where people can see and be seen. When visibility increases, safety increases. Um, it encourages positive activity, reduces hiding places for unwanted behaviors, and strengthens the natural presence of eyes on the street. That isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a proven idea. So when more people are observing and engaging in their surroundings, even casually, it sends a strong signal that the space is active, watched, cared for, and that alone can deter crime and reinforce community presence. So to support visibility, we focus on a few key design features. So maintain open sight lines. This means removing visual obstacles and organizing the environment so people can see ahead, across, and around them. Um, so yeah, clear views help users feel safe and allow for better awareness of what's happening around them. Also really important is providing adequate lighting. Lighting isn't just about brightness, it's about consistency, coverage, and comfort. So well-lit walkways, entrances, gathering areas, and paths help people to feel confident and safe moving through spaces at all hours. And yeah, also avoiding blind spots, areas that are hidden by dense landscape, corners, structures, or poorly placed features can create vulnerabilities, blind spots, and good design anticipates these issues and reshapes the spaces so that no one feels like they're stepping out into the unknown. Yeah, so here's some great examples of spaces that demonstrate the natural surveillance design. Yeah, maximizing visibility, encouraging activity, and yeah, just having nice open visual landscapes. Really beautiful places. Okay, so territorial reinforcement focuses on designing spaces that clearly communicate that this place is loved, cared for, and actively used, which naturally discourages criminal or nuisance activity. Um, so we strengthen this sense of ownership and pride through elements like clear, well-maintained signage that guides and welcomes people, public art that reflects community identity, um, pocket parks that invite everyday use, community gardens that encourage sustainable stewardship, and gathering spaces that bring people together. So each of these features signals that the space belongs to the community, is regularly engaged with, and is supported by people who are present and paying attention, making it less attractive for unwanted behavior, usually. Yeah, so here are some other really beautiful examples that illustrate how territorial reinforcement comes to life through thoughtful design and community engagement. Um, yeah, seeing people out there active, creating beautiful places. And yeah, I feel like color also is really a helpful thing. Okay, yeah, so next we'll talk about natural access control, which is all about guiding the flow of people through a space in a clear and intuitive way. Um, by controlling movement visually, we make it easier for uh, people to navigate while subtly discouraging unwanted activity. This can be achieved through clearly defined entrances like gates or fences, symbolic landscaping such as flower beds, low hedges, or ornamental fencing, and well-marked paths that direct people naturally. And yes, so together these strategies help to create spaces that feel organized, welcoming, and safe. And some more examples that show how natural access control can guide movement, um, define entrances, and shape pathways to create safer, more organized spaces. Okay, finally, we'll talk about stewardship, which is supported by our Care a Lot program. So this principle focuses on the general maintenance of a space to keep it looking cared for and inviting, discouraging neglect and unwanted activity. Um, so our upcoming Care a Lot season will run from April 11th through September 30th, 2026. This will include up to 11 scheduled maintenance visits, one visit in April, two visits per month from May through September. And during these visits, regular tasks can include mowing the grass, removing litter, and just maintaining a clean, well-kept environment. So yeah, this work operates on an invoice model, and anyone involved must have access to a lawnmower to carry out some of these necessary maintenance tasks. And yeah, here are some photos from our amazing community partners stewarding their care lot sites. We've got sites all over the city that work with us. So maybe you've seen our signs on some really beautiful lots around, but yeah, it's a awesome program. Yeah, so okay, crime prevention through environmental design works best when it actively involves residents who are the people who know the community best. And as leaders of the process, having them involved is vital. Um, it's most effective when integrated into a broader, inclusive revitalization strategy rather than applied in isolation. And using a range of data helps to identify where to focus efforts and choose the interventions that will have the greatest impact. Um, and finally, partnering with community-based organizations ensures that the process is equitable and reflects the needs and voices of everyone in the neighborhood, which is, yeah, the most important thing. So when applying septed strategies, focus should always be on creating usable, welcoming community spaces that encourage people to naturally gather, interact, and feel a sense of ownership. Um, Even small, thoughtful changes to a space can have a surprisingly large positive impact on the community. So, you can think subtly, be intentional in your design choices. And above all, the goal of your process is to genuinely help residents feel safe, supported, and connected to their local environment and their community. And yeah, at the same time, there are important pitfalls to avoid. So, septed should never be used to foster a mindset in which every passerby is automatically seen as suspicious. Similarly, we must recognize that legitimate legal use of spaces and everyday activities can sometimes be misperceived as disorder, but that doesn't mean that should be discouraged. And finally, Septet is not built on the idea of broken windows as a foundation. It's about creating proactive, positive environments that empower communities rather than punishing or stigmatizing them. So by keeping these do's and don'ts in mind, we can apply Septet in ways that truly strengthen both safety and community vitality. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Brandy to tell us about some success stories.
Yeah, guys. So, oh gosh, we have a lookbook. So, if you really want to dive into kind of see what people have done through Activate Your Space, we're so proud of the projects, but could only clip in a few. So, if you're from other areas and you work with us, no shade. We just grabbed a few, but we're proud to brag on you guys as well. So, I think we've got a little lookbook if you need to see it. But when we did Activate Your Space first time around, I want to say it had to been about 4 years ago. And Remington was one of the ones that did it. And as you can see there before and after, they did a great job with this lot over there at Macon Miles. Um, you can, let's see, I think the second picture, sorry. I'll kind of get into what they've done to give you a close up with before installing the garden beds, and you see how they did the fencing. Kind of goes back talking about some of those septet strategies like Morgan discussed, where they didn't want to close people out, so it's not a full 8 foot fence, but they did lower enough to say, hey, we want you to be a part of it, but we also want to deter maybe anything that could be going on. So they did a really good job with executing this. And it go back to the yeah. I'll go back and you'll see some of the lighting that they've installed. So they did a really good job. I want to take this point and we'll probably dig in there. So hang in there, guys. I know you guys are using the chat for questions, but we will take all your questions at the end. But we got quite a bit of slides to get through. But I want to take this time to go ahead and say that for this grant, and we're going to get into this federal money, that Remington did have other funds that they put with it. With this round to Activate Your Space, we won't be allowing you to do that. And I'll talk about that a little later into why, because they're very, very particular and picky with our receipts and all of that good stuff. So we'll talk about if you're awarded, we want you to stay right at that threshold of 5,000. But yeah, they did a great job with what they were given, and I believe that round of Activate Your Space was at 5,000 too. This is also the success story of Lafayette Square CDC. They did a beautiful job. As you can see how it began, and then look at that with the bees, and they've got the kids involved in all of the different gardens and things. So they've done a great job, and we have so many more lookbook spaces that you can kind of take a peek at if you want some inspiration or stuff that we're very proud of. But we just kind of wanted to give you an idea of how everybody did it. So and that's east and that's west, but you guys can, whatever your vision is, so just think about some of those things, and you don't have to hit all of the for natural access, territorial visit, kind of pick one to hone in on. And I'll talk about this a little bit later, but you'll be assigned to one of us where we can kind of walk you through it, especially if you're new. So we're happy to guide you along the way. But this is just a little peek into how well they've done. Morgan?
Thank you so much, Brandy. Yeah, so much visual inspiration.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, so when you're preparing your awesome project proposal, I'm so excited to see what y'all are dreaming up. So it's helpful to think about the 5 W's of who, what, when, where, and well, how, which isn't a W, but you get my point. Um, so start with a brief project summary. What exactly do you want to do? Keep it concise, keep it clear, so anyone reading can understand your vision. Um, and next, you want to provide a brief introduction to your organization, who you are, how you're connected to the neighborhood, and this specific lot. Your relationship to the community is super important because projects are most effective when led by people who understand and care about that area. And be very specific about the location of the lot. Where is it located, including the street, nearby landmarks, or any other details that make it easy to find. We sometimes go and scope things out, so let us know. And then identify the direct issue. Why are you undertaking this project? Explain the need or challenge you're addressing and why this lot in particular matters. Um, and then, yeah, after that, outline your goals and strategies. How are you going to accomplish your project? Use SEPTED strategies as a guide. Are you removing undergrowth or overgrowth to improve natural surveillance? Installing a fence to guide the flow of foot traffic, creating a community garden, or gathering space to foster territorial reinforcement? Yeah, just be specific about the actions you'll take. And next, you'll want to detail your budget. How much will this project cost? Break it down line by line using the budget template that will be provided. Um, be as precise as possible so us, the reviewers, understand exactly where the funds will go. And finally, create a timeline. How long will the project take to complete? Keeping in mind that all projects must be completed by June 30th of 2026, and specify the sequence of tasks and any milestones along the way, so it's clear to us how your plan will unfold. And yeah, so by addressing each of these points thoroughly, you'll create a proposal that's communicating your plan clearly, demonstrates your community connection and shows SEPTED strategies that will guide your project to its success. And yeah, so here are key dates and steps to keep in mind for the Be More Beautiful grant process. So the application opens on December 1st, so coming up very soon. You can access it through the website, ecb.baltimorecity.gov. You just click on the Be More Beautiful tab and select grant opportunities. Um, Virtual planning sessions will be held from December 8th through the 12th. And to register and reserve a time slot, you can just email us at bemorebeautiful@baltimorecity.gov. And the application will close on December 30th, so be sure to submit before that date. Applications will be reviewed during the period of January 5th through the 9th of 2026, and notifications will be sent out on January 15th. And finally, signed grant agreements will be due by January 22nd.
So before I go on, guys, I will say, yes, I know what you're thinking. This is a fast, quick turnaround. But anytime that we have an opportunity for funding sources that come in, we want to put it out. But you guys can do this. You guys can do this. And we're going to help you along the way. But this is a quick turnaround. So typically we give grace on a lot of things. You won't see that here. You won't see that here because we have such a short window that this is going to close on us. Okay, and I'll talk about why later on. But this is a little different. So we call this our activate your space um, pop up, kind of something Natasha had coined it. So it's just going to be the quick version, but we're trusting that you guys can do this, and we'll help you along the way. But I did want to say, just want to say, don't worry, it's a close, quick cutoff, but we'll get there. We'll help you out.
Yeah, thank you, Brady. And the application isn't too long, too. So we try to keep it really simple for everyone. Because it is the holiday season on top of being almost the end of the year. Um, so yeah, here are a couple resources where you can read more about some of the topics we covered. I'll also send these out to everyone who registered through Eventbrite, as well as what I talked about with our website, where the grant will be available. And yeah, I'll probably send out the presentation as well. So next slide. Um, okay, cool. So a few important reminders about our grant. So this funding is made possible through our partnership with the Department of Planning and Clean Corps, and the Baltimore Civic Fund. To be eligible, you must have an active Adopt-A-Lot license. So be prepared to provide a copy of that to us. And your project must comply with all Adopt-A-Lot guidelines. Um, you're also required to take before pictures of your site so that progress and impact can be documented. And if your project is awarded in any capacity, participation in Care Lot for the 2026 growth season is mandatory. Because this grant is tied to federal funding, the requirements, review process, grant agreement, and reporting will differ from past Be More Beautiful grant opportunities. So it's important to pay close attention to the guidelines and instructions. And now I think I'm handing it over to Brandy to talk about all this more in the Baltimore Civic Fund.
So we're almost there, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. I know you got questions, but we're almost there, and we find it important to kind of give you this information ahead of time, just because we want you to be prepared. Be prepared. Look at me talking too fast. But I let me go back. I'm gonna put my glasses on so you guys know I'm serious. Morgan did mention you must have an Adopt-A-Lot license. Let me go ahead and read this. We're going to tell on you. We're going to tell DHCD that you apply for this grant because we want to make sure that all things are well with the space. But I do want to remind you that in your Adopt-A-Lot license agreement, it states this in part. The licensee agrees and understands that the licensee must notify the city in writing of any grant funding the licensee intends to seek. I stop right there. Did you hear me, family? Okay. All right. As long as we're all on the same page, we want you to kind of tell your neighborhood service officer. I forgot their proper names, but you know, Howard, Kelly, all those folks that you are assigned to. We want you to tell them that you're seeking Activate Your Space funds. And also, if you're even awarded, we want you to tell them because we're going to beat you to the punch, but we want you to tell them too. So I did want to mention that. So let's go. So we are using Baltimore Civic Fund as our fiscal sponsor. Now, this grant is not traditionally run how Be More Beautiful does it. These are federal funds. They come with big oversight. I mean, down to the, y'all might call it nitpicking. They call it oversight. And they're very serious about that thing. And so we thought it was important to give you this upfront so you can check your organization's capacity, whether or not you're ready to do this. I'll go ahead and throw the question out there. Have you received federal funds before? If not, this will be new for all of us. But we want you to have all the information. So our partners at BCF, our Baltimore Civic Fund, have done a great job putting these slides together for us, so that way you will know what to expect. So let's talk about tax exempt status. Every nonprofit organization must have this tax exempt status. We will be asking you for your your IRS determination letter. If you are using a fiscal sponsor, we will be asking for your fiscal sponsor's determination letter. You're going to see that on our application. We're going to come up with a little checklist so you can check off of what you've already submitted. We're going to ask for those things up front so that way you're not awarded, and then on the back end we have to resend our award agreement because you don't have all the things together. So keep that in mind. We will be requesting that. I know those forms sometimes are so old and they're buried away, but we can give you the website. Most times you can find them on IRS's website, but hopefully you have access to that. Baltimore City address. We have stopped allowing fiscal sponsors and groups to be outside of Baltimore City. Ain't even know nothing else to say about that. And your fiscal sponsor must be within the state of Maryland. Our office alone, our director will not allow you to use a fiscal sponsor in Virginia. No, doesn't matter how close they are. Philly, PA, no, we're no longer allowed to do that. And so BCF, that is their rules too. Physical location in Baltimore City, fiscal sponsors must be within the state of Maryland. Good standing. Now, this can be easy to turn around if you're not in good standing, but you don't have to let us know now. We will let you know the website to check that, but they are going to require you to check. And we're going to check as well and provide this, but we just did want to mention that there are 3 ways to prove that whether you're in good standing with the Maryland Department of Assessment and Taxation. Either you can get a virtual certificate for $40. You can do the print the PDF, or you can just take a cool little screenshot with the date noted. That's most likely what we'll do. And BCF said that they would accept that, so you don't have to spend any money to do that. You can always go to the state website. If you're not in good standing, it's going to tell you why. It'll tell you that you didn't. It has something to do with the filing and the forms. We've had groups that weren't in good standing and took care of it within 24 hours. So it's not something that's hard to do, but we're telling you now because I want you to check it out. So you can look first. So it won't be like, surprise, surprise. I didn't put the website on there, but I'll make sure. I know you guys all, we should have all your information. Morgan, I'll make note of that to make sure that we send the good standing website in full because it didn't print it on there. So I'll make sure that you guys have it so you can check for yourself. Very easy. All right, again, these are federal funds. BCF will be checking to see if you have been barred from receiving federal funds. Yeah, they're going to check. They also are going to require you to have a unique entity ID or DUNS number. You'll find that they've changed it. I want to say back in 2022, no longer required the DUNS number, but if you have either one, they require you to have it. If you do not, I've put the website up there. It's really simple that you can go in there and grab that. And this is for every organization that's awarded, as well, or if you're using a fiscal sponsor, that's going to be required of them. And again, we'll make sure that you have the website and all of that good stuff so you can go on. When I clicked on there, it just kind of said create an account. But you guys are professionals. You may already have this information, but this is new news to me. So I wanted to share it with you. All right, down to what you might think is nitpicky. Your banking, everything has to be tight with this, guys. I mean, tight. If you've ever worked with Be More Beautiful and we had to do Workday, you guys remember that? Yeah, a doozy, right? Yeah, well, consider this 2.0. Remember when you applied for Workday and literally what you put in as a supplier account on your W-9 absolutely has to match. Everything has to match. This is that, guys. Your bank account must be in the same name of the applicant. So if it's Brandy Welsh Organization, that's exactly what my banking has to say. Brandy Welsh Organization. It will not be issuing funds to Miss Geraldine Welsh. It doesn't matter. She got the same last name. It's got to be in your organization name or your fiscal sponsor name. That's how serious they are about this banking and all of this stuff. Again, the applicant name should be consistent across all paperwork. The W-9, I'm talking about folks down to the I and C, incorporate whether it's spelled out, not spelled out, all caps, not, you get what I'm saying? That's how tight this has to be so that there aren't any issues, okay? So just make sure all of that looks alike and looks the same. If you went through a name change and have received all the proper documentation for that, provide all of that because we know sometimes that doesn't always catch up quickly. So provide all of your paperwork and documentation indicating that. Eligibility financials. Where do you fall? Now I know some of y'all out here doing big things. If you fall, if you are within if receiving charitable funds less than 300,000, all we need is your IRS 990 filing. or independent audits. Probably easy to do the 990, but hey, you might have already had your audit done. If it is above, then these are the next tiers that would require you to do. Easier, how it was explained to me through BCF, is that you could have done your own internal audit or review, but then it also needs to be confirmed and approved by a certified CPA. I might have said certified twice. And so if we get there, if you're awarded and you're in this middle category here, 300 to 750,000, we can kind of work with you. We can put you in touch with BCF so you kind of know. But then again, this may not be new to you. You may have already received that. You may have already done it. So we just want you to make sure that you're tight in everything. So let me see if this will jump me to okay, so we're getting there. I'm getting ready to show you the difference, what's required of you versus your fiscal sponsor. So this is what we're going to be requesting for the application: organization name, your organization address, proof of operating office, especially if it's different from the IRS determination letter. We know that sometimes that has changed, so many hands, but you can show proof of mail or anything like that. Again, your unique entity ID number, your certificate of good standing, which could be a simple screenshot, and your IRS form 990. So if you have all of those things, then you are winning. If you need to find those, it's why we're telling you up front, so you can kind of get the head start and running to see if you can get your hands on these things. If you have questions, ask myself, Natasha, Morgan, we're your dream team. We are telling you up front not to scare you away from this, but just so that way we know that the execution will be perfect and all of your paperwork will be in order and in line and according to the guidelines, because we wouldn't want anybody to be requesting funds back just because of this thing hasn't been done, or for you to be out of the running because you do not have your paperwork and documentation. And again, we've got a tight window, guys. We're so sorry, but you know how we do. We get money, we putting it out there. So that's why we're kind of giving you a jump start on what we need. And I know that y'all gonna have all of this together. We're just talking in circles. So I know you already got it. I'm not even worried about it. Application, your fiscal sponsor versus what you need. Here it is. We just said that, but it's worth repeating over and over and over. Proof of operating often, again, if your address was different, because again, they're going to want everything to be matched up and lined up. And we know sometimes those determination letters are so old, could have been in somebody else's address, and the organization has just changed it maybe to P.O. Box or something like that. So you can always show proof of that. Again, as Morgan stated, the application, we did not try to drag this thing out. If you did activate your space with us before, you'll see that this is just a little bit different, as we try to minimize it, just because we know we want to give you enough time to complete it. So we kind of back things down a little bit just to kind of just get to the punch of it. And we'll make sure that you have all your templates, all of that good stuff. Your fiscal sponsor, that's what we're going to need from them: determination letter, those DUNS or UEI numbers, of course, the screenshot of good standing. We can help you get that, and your IRS 990. If you work with us before, some of these things you may already have. But we just wanted to make sure that you guys were okay. Again, BCF said they would accept either the DUNS or the UEI. If you don't have those things, I'll start working on getting those. So let's see. Just wanted to check my notes. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want you guys to miss anything. Okay. Proof of expenses and pay. We're almost there. We're almost done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for hanging in there. We're almost done. Proof of expenses and payments. Now, here we go. Again, this Be More Beautiful. We're so flexible in our stuff. It doesn't bother us, but this, you have to be exact. If you are, in terms of turning in receipts for the documentation that you've provided good services, that you've paid for stuff, all of that good stuff, it has to be exactly what you've been awarded for. You can't go buy lumber and then just decide, boy, I sure could use a Snickers and a water. They do not. You better make a second payment, make a second transaction. They don't want to see it on that receipt. Nothing. It only should be what you've been allotted to spend. It shouldn't be anything wild. You shouldn't be out there buying tents. I know it gets hot. Baltimore weather is crazy. If tents wasn't a part of your proposal, we don't see tents on the receipt. Okay, make sure the receipts are exactly for the project that you are doing, because they will absolutely send it back and say this was an unauthorized transaction, and we don't want that. So no gift cards. And you guys wouldn't do this. You wouldn't buy a gift card to make a payment for something. You wouldn't do that. But I have to say it. No gift cards. No handing out cash for work without an invoice. An invoice does not mean that it was paid for. So if you get an invoice from a contractor, then you've paid for work, you also need a receipt. So invoice accompanied by a receipt showing that it was paid. So if you paid it through Zelle, show the Zelle transaction. If you, or the receipt that they give you, if you did Venmo, if you did Cash App, they are gonna want to see proof of payment, not just the invoice that you booked the mirrorless. We want to see how he or she has been paid. All right, you with me? Okay. A handwritten invoice still needs a receipt. All right. They need to see the payment was made. And they harped on that with me, so I am harping on that with you. So just make sure that all of that is good to go. And again, you are not going to remember all the stuff that we're saying. That's why we will be breaking those that have been awarded this. You will be assigned to myself, Natasha, or Morgan. And that is our job, to make sure that you're good to go. We'll be hand holding you, making sure all is well, make sure everything is a smooth execution, because we know it's a short time, but we're confident you guys can get this done. And we want to support any work that you want to do in the community. But on the back end, the admin side, guys, we got to be tight with our stuff, okay? Um, and I think that'll throw us into questions. Again, we thank you. We know that this is a short timeline. We're going over this so you can check your capacity. We want to make sure the small things have been taken care of, in terms of banking account, names, how the funds paid, making sure we're in good standing with the state, all of those things. We want you to do that up front, because you only really have 30 days to be tight on all of that stuff before the grant closes out. Again, we will be here along the way. And we're just so grateful. It's our pleasure to support you this way. But again, keep in mind, this is in partnership with Department of Planning, our sister agency, as well as Baltimore Civic Fund. And so this is a little different from what you used to with Be More Beautiful. So that was a ton. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and let's take questions. Natasha's in the chat, so we thank her, and I'll jump in there to see what's going on, what you guys been asking. I think that was Jerry's hand up.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeedy.
Hi, Brandy.
Hey
Thank you
there.
so much for doing this. Thank you for this grant opportunity, and thank you for having this information session. This is an opportunity that we're very excited about because it's all about safety for us in Milton Mumford neighborhood, particularly this block, because unfortunately, this lot, because unfortunately, there are several criminal activities that is going on this lot that we really want to beautify it so that it does look cared for and loved and stewarded, and people will view it differently going forward if we are able to accomplish this, and if we are able to get this grant. So the one question I have, we met with residents who live in the area of this lot, and I'm gonna share with you the questions. It's not a lot, because you actually answered some. One of them was about fencing, so I know fencing's allowed, but better ornamental, not so much like an 8-foot fence, correct?
Yeah, we kind of liked how, because we don't want to close people off from it, but
No,
we've seen
correct.
some people do. Um, we'll see how you make your dollar stretch, because I know it's
Yeah,
expensive. We saw who over there, McElderry did a really nice like a white picket fence that was
yeah,
really tasteful, but it wasn't a tall one. But it did
exactly.
the job, like keep it out.
Yeah.
I know that Miss Cynthia over there in Care, they've got a wrought iron, really beautiful
Yes.
style
Yes.
thing. So yeah, you just get creative. Again, this grant is up to 5,000. So
Yeah, we don't
we'll
want
see
to
how you
spend it.
stretch
We
your
don't,
bucks.
yeah, we want to stretch as much as possible. That's why
Yeah.
ornamental would actually be less than like an 8 foot fence.
Hmm.
And ornamental will allow everyone to see the other work that we have planned for this lot. But before I get ahead of myself, I did hear you say that we have to have adopt a lot on the, like, we don't have that. So if we don't have that, that's it. Like, it's like we can't get it. Can we get it? Can we apply for it? Is it
I
like,
think you can. Tosh, should we will Anika, is she allowing us to kind of submit some of these that might need adopt a lots?
Jumping in. Yes, Anika will help. I will say this, and this is kind of she will help out as long as it is something that it does have an adopt that is an MCC. If it's something
okay,
that happens to be, I know in Jerry, in your case, it is. This
okay,
statement is kind of for everyone else. If there's a space that you are interested in and you want to try to, I guess, fast track the adopt a lot process, if it's not a mayor and city council lot, don't even go down that road. It takes a
okay,
lot of work internally for us to get the permissions if a lot happens to be owned by DOT or real estate or Parks and Recs. Because
Control.
this is a pop-up edition, if it's not mayor and city council and you don't already own or excuse me, don't already have an adopted lot license, don't apply for it. It's not going to work in your favor. Just because of the limited time that we have to actually execute this. I will also say for anybody that's using a fiscal sponsor, I know I dropped this. I dropped this and I thought I put it to everybody, but I put it in the wrong one because someone had asked me a question directly. So I'm gonna say this to everyone. If you're using a fiscal sponsor, please make sure you check to see what the status of your fiscal sponsor is. What I mean by that is throughout this 2025 in particular, there's been a couple of fiscal sponsors, larger organizations that some of the smaller groups that we've had the pleasure of working with have folded in the midst of funds being out, about to be issued, and all that other good stuff. I understand that Historic East Baltimore Action Coalition is folding at the end of this year. And so, for anybody who may be utilizing larger institutions like a Hubcap or like in the past a Fusion or even a Strong City, just to name two other ones that have folded in the midst of us having grant programs going, check with them first because we don't want to put anybody in a situation where you're on the hook for organization, you're on the hook financially or to some degree for something that may have happened because your fiscal sponsor is no longer operating. So I think
we
that's a
have a
very
back.
important thing.
Thank you, Natasha. We do have a backup because we are,
Yay!
yeah, we're aware of what's going on with HEPCAP, unfortunately. I don't want to take too much time from other people asking questions. So one question that came out, are we allowed to cement the lot? Yes or no? You don't have to give us an explanation because I don't want to take too much time from
It's a
other people.
maybe. It's a
Maybe.
maybe.
Okay.
Let me. I would have to. We can talk offline. We'll talk
Okay, we'll
offline.
talk. All right. Okay,
Yep.
so yeah, the question, so the questions were cement, and then the other one was pea gravel. Can we just pea gravel a lot? Yes or no?
Yes. 9 times out of 10 for both is yes. But I will double check
Okay.
with Nika. But the key is to
Okay.
have that license. So we'll talk offline. Circle back to me tomorrow.
Okay. Yep, I will. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'm done.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, those are good questions, guys. And if you fall in kind of the same thing as Jerry, let us kind of work on that ahead of time so we can ask the right questions to DHCD because what we don't want them to do is tell you to pull all that stuff back up because then you and I both will be crying real tears. All right. So,
Okay. I'm sorry, Brand. I just saw a question from Miss Saunders about our partnership in
okay.
the chat. So I'm just going to jump in. So yes, we have had the pleasure to partner with specifically with Clean Core They were able to be the recipient, and this is planning. They were able to get some funding from ARPA, and they have to spend it. And since we've been able to work so well with each other this past year, they thought this will be a great opportunity to help fund one of our grant programs that was kind of in flux. So the funding itself is coming by way of ARPA funds that was originally given to planning via Clean Corps. DPW is our partner just because we get on their nerves and they help us out when we have, but in a good way, because a lot of the work that our communities do takes a lot of the low work off of the men and women that actually work for DPW. So for them, they step in and help us out when we might need some assistance. So if there happens to be on your lot, let's say a toilet that was dumped and you need it removed, then DPW will help with us that particular way. Baltimore Civic Fund is the city's fiscal sponsor. So it's a much easier way to disseminate funds. So since the planning gave the put the funds in Baltimore Civic Fund to help oversee and disseminate the federal funds, it's so much simpler to do it that way in terms of getting funds out quickly than it is through Workday. Workday in the city is a process. BOE is a process. So that's how BCF is functioning. They are our fiscal sponsor. So as we're giving money out, we need to make sure that we're doing our money right. I'm sorry, my son is jumping in, so Brandy's going to take over. I'm sorry.
Hey, Keaton. But yes, thank you, Natasha. Absolutely right on point. BCF is serving as, they want to be Baltimore Civic Fund, but we always reduce it to an acronym. Quick. They are serving as our fiscal sponsor. So this is why there's so much oversight, because everybody's being held. Everybody's got to answer. So we're always happy to put our money into community. So when people come up with ideas, we're like, yes, we want to do it, but there is some oversight that'll be coming from planning as well as Baltimore Civic Fund. And so that's why you see all of these hands, but we got you. We got your back. Yes, Miss Cynthia.
Hi, so good evening. I'm just going through everything. I think Natasha answered the one about the 990N, given that's really just a snippet off of the IRS website to say that you filed it. There's no detailed reports. That seems to be acceptable. But the other thing is, I heard you talk about fencing and you don't want to shut people out. As you know, we've been vandalized and we are here having lots of problems with the unhoused population in this neighborhood, particularly the unhoused population that seems to be experiencing addiction as well. So, in these conversations where you all are talking about lower fences, it just may not be amenable to some communities to have lower fencing at this time. And is that something, if you need to go higher, your partners are okay with, because safety means we kind of sometimes have to really block people out because of the conditions of the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, I mean, we definitely understand that, and thank you for that perspective. Ms. Cynthia has done this with us before, so that, and thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we totally understand that. Those that are thinking about those things and want to consider that, that might be a good time for what Morgan talked about, maybe jumping in one of our planning sessions, so we can make sure that it's all tasteful. But we certainly understand. You guys know what's best for your community. Is why we love Be More Beautiful, because we hardly ever tell you what to do. We just kind of give you guidelines. But if that doesn't work, let's think about something else. Absolutely certain. And then there's some other areas that you can touch on for subtet strategies, where lighting and things like that. So absolutely, we won't say everybody's got to do it the way Remington did. It doesn't work there for everybody. But absolutely, so we're certainly open to it. But yeah, we can get in front of it and kind of chat about it and brainstorm some ideas. So thank you, Miss Cynthia. Yes. Is there anybody else? Any other questions? I'm trying to see what was stated in the chat that maybe everybody didn't have access to. Someone asked about with mixed ownership, city and abandoned property. Private lots. Do we still need to acquire permission from private owners. So yes, Natasha answered that. You need to provide a written letter of support / permission from the owner. So yes, we know that stuff takes time, is why we always say deal straight with MCC properties. They're a little bit easier. But yes, if you can get a hold of the owner in enough time for that little quick window that we've got for you, then do it. Let's see. Are there sample questions? Saj asked that. Are there sample questions so we can prepare for the actual application? Yes, our applications are easy breezy. I promise you. They aren't a question within a question within a question. They're typically about, I think Morgan might have touched on this. Where do you want to have your project? What are some of the issues that are facing? We kind of ask you for before and after pictures. So it's those are some of the questions they Natasha went through and really kind of tighten things up a little bit more, so that way we won't be requiring this long dissertation from you guys, just because we know you don't have time and neither do we. So the questions are really, really simple. It's more about your community, what you're doing, what you're trying to do. Do you have the capacity? Hey, how many volunteers do you have? What's the space looking like now? What's your vision for it? That kind of thing. Let's see. We will check Miss Debbie. Miss Debbie said some vacant properties are in litigation with DHCD due to absentee owners. Can we work with mixed properties intertwined with city-owned lots? Natasha jumped out and said, no, that would have been one I said we would have to ask DHCD about that. And they may not even have time to deal with us on it, just because we need to turn around and the answer immediately. And we know we might not get it. So it's easier just to stick really with the MCC lots. Those are, especially if you don't already hold the adopt a lot license for it, might be a little easier for DHC to work with us to get that approved for you quickly. We're sorry. And guys, hey, we do care a lot January. We've got other grant programs that'll come out 2026. This is just one side. So if you don't make this round, we're going to keep always trying to find other things to be able to put out into the city. So, if you turn down about this just because we don't have a lot of time, don't be upset. Circle back with us. We're always thinking about different ways how we can support you guys. And Natasha added in about litigation can take years, unfortunately. How can I get a list of lots? It should be on DHCD's website, but we can certainly, let me tell y'all about Natasha. She's fast with the typing fingers. For those that want a list of available lots, click on the link. If you do not have access, go to buyintobmore.baltimorecity.gov. That's BUYINTOBMORE.baltimorecity.gov. Fast Fingers has already dropped it in the chat. One applicant and one fiscal sponsor. Yes, that's right, Miss Jerry.
Okay.
These are great questions. Let's see, Elise, can we participate in the planning sessions even if we may not be ready to get some? Yes, just to get some information on this process. Absolutely. Because fingers crossed, then, activate your space is something that we would love to continue to do. So if you don't make it this round again, we'll have other opportunities, but absolutely, we'll be happy to kind of do a little think tank with you and kind of process some of your ideas, even if you're not ready right now. Absolutely, we'd be happy to do that. Let's see, we missing anybody? Oh, it said amazing. Okay. Anybody else? You guys are asking amazing questions. We value your time. We thank you so much for being here. It's our pleasure to serve as your Be More Beautiful liaisons. And we love what we do. We love seeing the transformation in your neighborhoods. We are your biggest cheerleaders. So don't be scared away by this. We just want to make sure that you are, I know I keep saying tight, but I don't know no other way to put it. We just want to make sure all things are ready and that you are good to go and that the execution for this project, for what your vision is for your community, will be smooth. So let's see, another question in the chat. Just to clarify, no additional funds can be added to the project, correct? Yes, we want you to plan for what your project could be within the $5,000, because we do not want to get into the weeds with them about why was additional funds attached? Why is it a part of the report? We're trying to keep everything as clean as possible. Now, if you want to say after you've done with this, you guys, Miss Cynthia, y'all getting ready to bring in the big bucks and do something else right behind it, you go right ahead. But we want to say for this $5,000, what do you want to do with this? And just literally just execute that. Just because their receipts and all of that stuff, it just has to be that clean. It can't even have additional stuff on there. It's got to be within what was in your budget, what was approved, all of that good stuff, because we wouldn't want, and we kept saying as a team, man, if people spend the money and then it's not to the liking or approved by the oversight committee, then they could request those funds back. And we don't want to do that to you. We don't want to do that to you. So yes, like Natasha just indicated, we strongly suggest keeping it a solo project. Do you all work with childcare providers? What do you mean by that, Demetria? What do you guys have going on?
I was sitting here listening, and everything just sounds so wonderful. But and I said, this is a good opportunity for me to get connected with this group. But as I was listening to everything, I don't have where's my notes? Adopt a license certificate. So I definitely know that I won't be qualified for this grant. But in the future, would you all be able to help childcare providers as well?
Yeah, what are some of the things you guys had in mind?
So I know that we need a new playground because the one that we have is just falling apart. And we're also in the process of expanding our childcare as well to offer more space to other children. And so we do serve the community. We've been around for 20 years, and I'm just really excited about this group that I'm in right now.
So a lot of our projects, and take a look at our website. It'll kind of tell you where baltimorecity.gov, and it'll tell you a lot about Be More Beautiful, hit on grant opportunities, and you'll see some of the stuff. So we work a lot with community-based organizations that do neighborhood stuff. You hear us talking a lot about mayor, city council properties, because a lot of the work that the community-based organizations are doing are for the benefit of the community. Now,
Okay.
a lot of you won't find that our grant funds will be on private property, helping to benefit and do all of those things. So it'll be a neighborhood effort. So let's say if you guys, as the childcare providers, say y'all want to do I Love Your Block, and you want to enhance the block in which the childcare facility is on, and hey, we want to put planters everywhere and different things like that. That is something you can do, but we can definitely talk with us offline, and we can kind of share a little bit about what we do, how that
Awesome.
kind of ties in with what you guys are doing, maybe for the neighborhood at large. I see Natasha dropped on here. Consider reaching out to the Mayor's Office of Children and Family Success for some
Oh,
of those things. So yeah, we'll be. I will drop our contact information if you didn't grab it off of the slide. I'll throw our Be More Beautiful website in there, email address, so that way we can kind of chat and you really can kind of learn what we do aside from
okay.
this grant, and maybe some other ways that we can partner in addition to kind of connecting you with the Children and Family Success Office.
That is really wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Sure, it's our pleasure. We're happy that you're here, getting to know some new folks. And thank you, Joey. Good to hear from you. I hope all is well on your end. Oh yeah, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hey, and we appreciate you guys because we know some of you are there cooking and prepping and doing all the things. So we really appreciate you guys kind of taking a little break and listening in for us. So we're going to make this available because we know not everybody was able to join. And when we go, you're going to have tons of other questions. Get in touch with us. Reach out to us. Let me make sure we're not missing a question. Oh, thank you, Miss Elise. So we really appreciate you guys. Again, it's our pleasure to serve as your liaisons. We're happy to do this. We love seeing your transformations, and any way that Natasha, Morgan, and I could help, we are here. Dream Team, did I miss anything? Morgan, Natasha, any last thoughts, ladies?
No, thank you so much, everyone. This was great. And yeah, as Brandy said, we'll be following up with all of the links from this presentation, our contact info, a copy even of the entire presentation. So yeah, we'll be in touch tomorrow.
Thank you guys. We really, really do appreciate you. We are thankful for you also. With that being said, if there's no additional questions, again, reach out to us. We're at bemorebeautiful@baltimorecity.gov. You can email us and you'll find yourself talking to any one of us because we all answer that email. So good night. Have a good one. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your time.
And you all as well. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.